Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for this Mayday for Accountants webinar. Just going to give everyone a few seconds to filter through, and then we will get going. All right, amazing. Well, look, thank you so much. Really excited to chat with you today. So my name's David Tuck. I'm the co-founder and CEO here at Mayday, and absolutely thrilled to be joined by Becky from UHY. We did have Michelle, the finance director from Hill Helicopters, who are the UHY client that Becky introduced to Mayday. Unfortunately, she's had to pull out at short notice, but we've got some info from her included in the slides, and they'll be really well placed to talk you through when we get into the product demo, how Hill have been able to benefit from us. But yeah, I'm just going to hand over to Becky to do a brief intro.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Becky Roberts. I'm a director at UHY Hacker Young. Really thrilled to be joining David today, introducing you with Mayday, a product that for me was a game changer for our multi-entity clients.
Amazing. Well, look, really kind of excited to get going. So I've just got some sort of slides to run you through, and then we'll talk about kind of Becky's story of introducing Mayday into Hill Helicopters as a client, and then I'll do a product demo, and there'll be time for Q&A at the end. But equally, please do fire through any questions as they come to you. So Mayday, we were founded in 2021, so we've been working on the product suite for 3 years now. I'm an accountant by training, so did the first 5 years of my career in practice, moved out, headed up a succession of startup and SME finance teams. And I was previously the founder at Chaser, the accounts receivable software, which some of you may be familiar with. And yeah, Mayday, we started in 2021. We won Xero's Emerging App Partner of the Year award in April last year, which we were thrilled to win. And we're now at 226 reviews on the Xero App Store at a perfect 5.0 star rating. So who are we for? We are for multi-entity businesses. So that might be corporate groups, holding company and subsidiaries, or it might be multiple businesses that are owned by the same individual or group of individuals, and there is economic activity between them. We're also for single entity businesses who need to split costs or revenues between different departments, different divisions, using the Xero tracking categories. About 80% of our customers are in-house finance teams using Xero. But we also serve finance function, sort of virtual finance function providing accounting firms. The key distinguishing feature for us is we're serving businesses who cross that threshold into what I like to describe as the pro finance category, who have month end as a need. And in the larger sense, the problem that we solve, and we're really, really thrilled with the results that we're able to deliver, is what we're seeing in the market with the maturing of cloud accounting now. And that's, a bunch of small businesses start small and stay small indefinitely, but others start small and grow up into that pro finance category, where things are more complex. You have multiple entities, you have multinational considerations. These are businesses who love Xero for what it can do and are really eager to continue to thrive and scale with it. So it's such a thrill to be able to work with businesses like Hill and their 9 entities to enable them to thrive with Xero as their system and move up with it, rather than having to make the horrible and hectic, as one of our customers described it from her past experience, move to an ERP system. And that's one of the brilliant things about Xero. So we ran a webinar series with our CFO Tech Stack content and community offering, Xero for Groups, back in March, where Alex, the UK and emerging markets MD from Xero, spoke brilliantly about how Xero has been ecosystem native from day one, so that businesses can thrive in it into their growth stage. And it was lovely to see that recognition from Alex about the value that Mayday is able to provide to those businesses. So in terms of the specific pain points that we address, so we've got 3 here. Intercompany loans won't balance. I've got my different entities, I've got my different nominal codes, and what entity A shows it owes to entity B is not the same as what entity B shows it owed by entity A. And before I know it, I've got 1,000 transactions in one intercompany code, 999 in the other. Before I know it, I've spent a day manually kind of getting to the kind of the eureka moment of finding that needle in a haystack that has caused the discrepancy. Bank feeds don't function across multiple entities. So where I have a bank feed item in one that relates to a bill or invoice in another, or maybe I have a company card that's used to incur a cost on behalf of another. Today, I have to do a lot of switching between Xero files to manually reconcile things off. There's so much risk of a one-side posting, so much risk that bills will get paid twice because the bill is still showing as outstanding, notwithstanding the fact that it's been paid by another entity. And then there is the manual handling of cost and revenue recharges, where I've got central overheads, for example, that one entity in the group is incurring for good reason, because, let's take software, for example. It makes sense to have one billing relationship for the administrative fees, for the purchasing efficiencies. But then there is a lot of manual work I have to do today to recharge those costs or revenues over to the relevant entities in the group. Typically we've seen that this will be 1 to 2 days worth of manual work as part of month end to do properly for our customers, but it really scales linearly. We've got a 57 entity gym group that we work with, where we took 2 weeks off their month end close by being able to automate this process. Because with Mayday, we've got our balancer product for the intercompany balance side of things, which enables, and I'm so excited to show you this in a second, and it's been hugely beneficial for Michelle and the Hill Helicopters team to easily identify the posting asymmetries. We've got our Bragg product, which delivers cross-entity bank rec, the multi-entity equivalents of the match and create function in Xero, and our recharger product, which does in 5 minutes, thanks to our recharge rules. So if you think the Xero bank rules applied to intercompany charges, what has previously been the 1 to 2 days of manual work. And that brings us beautifully to kind of, Michelle and Michelle's experience at Hill Helicopters and their 9-entity group. So much benefit we've been able to deliver across the recharger, Bragg, and balancer product suite. And you can really see that borne out in Michelle's review on the Xero App Store here about the pain that it really kind of kills for them as a group. And Becky, I'd love to sort of bring you in here for the story. Like, take us back to the beginning of how how you came to know Michelle and Hill Helicopters, and then make the introduction.
So it's a bit full circle for me with Mayday and Michelle and my relationship with you, David. So me and Michelle actually used to work together. Michelle trained me. She was my manager for quite a long time. We first introduced when you were back at Chaser. And so we've kind of maintained a relationship since then. Michelle then since left practice and now working in industry and is the finance director at Hill Helicopters. Michelle gave me a call. She was facing that pain of the potential move to ERP from being in practice. Loved Xero, was really eager to continue, but sort of gave a panic phone call of, what do I do next? What do I do now? And Mayday seemed the obvious solution to enable her to extend her journey with Xero a little bit further.
Amazing. And there's a point in Michelle's kind of review there, how she talks about staying on top of the ecosystem is so challenging. And Becky, I know you at UHY work with a bunch of sort of the upper echelons of Xero using businesses where there will be in-house finance teams. Is that something that you see a lot, that challenge to kind of step outside the day-to-day and keep on top of the options available?
Yeah, I think a lot of our clients have got a core app stack that's really strong. Yeah, we've built that over a number of years. But for me, yeah, saturated the market. There are so many apps out there, and knowing what's relevant and what's actually going to help clients is quite tricky. I get distracted quite easily by shiny things, and there's so many new products in the market. But I think as soon as I saw Mayday, it stood out for me as something that was a real game changer for some of our multi-entity clients.
And what's the feedback been from Michelle to you? I mean, we can obviously see it in the glowing App Store review that she's left. But in terms of making these recommendations, because that's I guess if we step back from it, there's so many other things. So many other things competing for our time as as an advisor. I remember when I was back in practice, you've got sort of a million and one things. So it can sometimes be tough to think, well, why should I prioritize this? What impact does it have on your client relationships when you're able to make recommendations like this that work out so well?
It's a clear differentiator, isn't it? Yeah, it enables you to be able to provide really valuable advice and change things drastically for your clients in ways that we can't do with some of the more mundane work we do. For me, it's quite exciting to be able to help people in that way.
Amazing. Well, look, it's been such a great story, and we've loved kind of working with Michelle, and continue to love doing so. It's a kind of classic example here of the introduction came from Becky and UHY. Michelle was going to be the sort of the primary user. So off the back of that recommendation, she engaged with us directly. We had a couple of onboarding calls, Michelle and I, to run through and tailor how to get the most out of the product, which we'll do as standard with any new trialist that you introduce to us from within your client base. And yeah, it's just been amazing to be able to see her get such great value out of the product suite that I'm really excited to share with you now. So if you just bear with me, I'm just going to jump into Mayday. So hopefully everyone's seeing the intercompany balances on the Mayday screen. Please shout if you're not. So this is Mayday once you have brought together your related Xero organizations. So Michelle with the 9 entities in the Hill group ran through, connected the relevant Xero organizations, and then we've got a real-time feed via the Xero API. We've got 3 organizations in our demo group here. Our biggest customer has 86, so don't have any concerns about our ability to cater to clients of any size. And then let's talk the pain points that we were running through earlier. So the first is the intercompany balance sheet recs. So what have you done here? You've mapped the nominal codes in each entity that constitute that intercompany relationship. And then at a particular date, either in this list or this lovely matrix view, we're telling you whether or not the balances align. If they do, we're getting this lovely reassuring green background, nothing for us to worry about. If they're not, what's the first thing we do today? We go to Xero, we run off the account transactions reports from each of the 2 nominal codes, we dump them into a spreadsheet, and then commences the game of matching up the transactions to try and find any one-sided postings. We don't have to play that game anymore because Balance's intelligent matching has now done that for us, matching up the transactions across the 2 GL codes, so we can immediately see any one-sided posting as the root cause of the intercompany discrepancy. Because as I said before, we've all been there. We've all had 1,000 transactions in one intercompany code, 999 in the other, and before we know it, we spent a day manually matching them to find that eureka moment. No more needle in a haystack because Balancer has done that for us. A couple of other things we help with, which won't be relevant to all groups, but are real painkillers where they are relevant. So the first is where we have different base currencies involved. We'll always have a discrepancy at the end of each month because of the FX movement. So we can now one-click post the FX adjustment back in to Xero. And then sometimes we'll need to charge interest on our intercompany balance. So we can set the interest rate that needs to apply. And then we're able to one-click post the relevant interest back into each Xero organization simultaneously each month. So that's Balancer for our intercompany balances. Then we've got Recharger for our recharges. So this is where we've got the costs or revenues in one entity, some or all of which relate to another. So I talked before about the example of software subscriptions. Makes a lot of sense. One entity in the group has the billing relationship for administrative ease, for purchasing efficiencies. But then we need to split that cost across the group. So today, what do we have to do? We have to identify the transactions, calculate the recharges in a spreadsheet, and then go and manually post them into each entity. Day or two's worth of manual work as part of month end. Now, it's a 5-minute automated task because we've got recharge rules. So think the Xero bank rules applied to our intercompany charges. Pointing the rule at the relevant transactions, using any combination of these conditions to match it to the relevant ones, and then telling the rule what needs to happen to the transactions it matches. So here we're saying split these software subscriptions by headcount across the different entities in the group, posting to the relevant nominal codes, tracking categories. We're doing that for all of our different recharge situations across costs. Those might be straight overhead on charges, or might be costs we need to mark up in recharging them, might be based on revenues, might be based on items posted to the balance sheet, might be set management fees, which aren't based on specific Xero transactions, but still need to form part of the recharges each month. We do that once as part of setup, and that means going forward, it is as simple as choosing the period that we want to run our recharges for. Most of our customers do this monthly, but you can do it as frequently as daily if you want. We support 445, 13 4-week periods, whatever period you need, you'll be able to do with us. You then get this. So think of this as a multiplayer VAT return for your intercompany charges. We've pulled through all of the different transactions from each Xero organization in line with the conditions you've set, applied the relevant recharge rule. So now, much like reviewing a VAT return, all I need to do is run down this list and make sure I'm happy with how the different transactions are being treated. They're all one click away in Xero if I need any more information. I also need the flexibility to be able to override any outlier transactions. I'll do that. I'll get to the bottom. I'm happy with how everything's being treated. I'll jump through. And then I've got all of my different entity-to-entity recharges within the group that I choose how I want them posted back into Xero. And this is a good juncture to flag the intra-entity reallocation. So if I have costs or revenues that I need to split between department or division using the Xero tracking categories, I can do that with Mayday Recharger as well. And then I one-click post back into Xero. So that onerous 1 to 2 days worth of manual work is now a 5-minute tick box task. And then finally, for my cross-entity bank transactions. So I've got a bank feed item in Mayday HQ, which relates to Mayday Inc. So here Mayday HQ has paid the bill on behalf of Mayday Inc., but it could just as easily be receive money on behalf of another entity, or it could be common situation we see, company card registered to one entity is used to incur a travel cost, pay for a meal for another entity. The pain is the same. I then have to switch between my Xero files, find the relevant bill, mark it as paid to the intercompany code, then come back into Mayday HQ and reconcile it off to the corresponding intercompany code. So much manual pain, so easy to end up with a one-sided posting to one of the intercompany codes. Worst case scenario, that bill gets paid twice because it's still showing as outstanding in Mayday Inc. Now, all of that is a thing of the past because all within the Xero bank rec, I don't have to change my process here at all. I've now got the Mayday tab, which quite simply is the match and create functions of the regular Xero bank rec on a multi-entity basis. So I can now match that bank feed item in Mayday HQ to the relevant bill in Mayday Inc., or I can create it if it doesn't yet exist. And because I've mapped the intercompany codes in Mayday as part of setup, when I press continue, that will mark the bill as paid in Mayday Inc. It will populate the relevant intercompany code in Mayday HQ, all in a single click, all without switching between Xero files. So that's the product demo. I'm just going to dive back into my slides. And so yeah, so how do we work with our our fantastic partners like UHY? So client introductions, where there is an in-house finance team, and we can work this whichever way works best for you. The relevant finance team member or members can book in a demo with us. We'll happily support them fully through the onboarding ourselves. Other partners, they like to join for the initial demo. They like to play a role in the onboarding. Whatever works best for you. We can absolutely support that brilliantly. But yeah, always happy to offer a client demo. And as we did with Michelle at Hill, there are a couple of onboarding calls there to run through and tailor how to get the most out of the product. And then the other kind of use case and how partners work with us is from an outsourced finance function perspective. So where you are the finance function for a multi-entity business, and we enable you to deliver that service more profitably. And another one, which I haven't got on the slide here, and it's been a really interesting one that we've seen a bit lately, is firms using our balancer product as part of year-end accounts work or even audit work for multi-entity clients that use Xero, saving you a huge amount of time when it comes to year-end balance sheet rec work. And I'll run through our bureau prices in a second and how they brilliantly enable you to do that. So we have 4 pricing plans: a free plan, a passive plan, an active plan, and an advanced plan. The free plan is for very sort of small groups where they just need 3 intercompany balances on Balancer of the same currency. The passive plan, where you need full kind of access to all of the functionality within Balancer. The active plan, this is for businesses that have material, are getting into the kind of recharging or cross-entity bank transactions and therefore need use of our recharger and or brag product. And then the advanced plan is for the larger groups who will need more in terms of onboarding and setup support. So all of these prices scale according to a number of entities in the group. So the prices here are for 2 entities in a group. If you go to our website and the pricing page, you can easily toggle things there to see how the price scales according to the number of entities in the group. But the passive plan is kind of the core, right? Like any group will need balancer in our experience. Any group will have intercompany balances between the entities. And this is what sort of brings in the year-end accounts work again. And this is what gave rise to the bureau pricing that we introduced a couple of weeks ago for XeroCon, and we've received a phenomenal response to. This is the ability to buy blocks of either 5, 20, or unlimited groups of licenses to the passive plan, so full access to Balancer. So here we're putting you in the situation where we don't want there to be any friction. Where you have a client group that's using Xero, they're going to be able to benefit from the passive plan. So this enables you to roll them out across all of those multi-entity clients. And then where there is the need for recharger and or brag, you are also effectively buying a discount with your bureau price to the recommended retail prices. So yeah, that's everything that I had on the list to run through for today. We offer a 30-day free trial for any group that you create. So that's not just for your first client, that's for your 5th client, your 10th client, your 50th client. There will be the 30-day free trial there. And you can also book the one-on-one demo via our website. So I am just going to open up the floor to questions. I can see the top one here from Pratik. All sounds fab. Will we get the recording sent to us? I'm assuming yes, but just want to double check. I want to send across to my colleagues, bosses. I feel it will really benefit us. Yes, absolutely, Pratik. We'll get the recording sent out to everyone who's joined today, and yeah, please do share that with anyone who would find it useful. And then I've seen another question has come through here. What support do you offer clients with implementation. So yeah, hopefully that's I've covered that kind of a bit on the webinar already. So any new trialist will get a link to be able to book in for an onboarding call, which typically takes about 25. Typically takes about 25 minutes. If we need to, we can have a second one of those. But that proves really popular, particularly for Recharger as a product. It's real riding a bike stuff, but creating the first couple of Recharge rules together it proves really popular. I've seen a question come through from Marina. Do you have a functionality to create a combined report for several companies, e.g. A trial balance for several companies? So that's not really the sort of space that we are in or planned to kind of get into. We work really well with solutions like Join for consolidated reporting, or Sift or Fathom, for example, both great solutions that have consolidated reporting as part of their broader suite. Julia, we have around 200 entities, and the list of all intercompany balances would be close to 500. Is it practical to look at them as a list that you've shown? Yeah, I mean, Julia, we've got some huge groups using us. So I think from memory, our 86 entity group has 363 intercompany balances set up with us. So and yeah, they derive huge value from it. So yeah, the product is built for scale. So yeah, look, we can kind of work through things as part of the onboarding. But yeah, I'm really excited about how the product will be able to meet your needs. And then finally, I've just seen a question here, Becky. What from your sort of experience, like as a firm, what have Mayday done to support you?
We've been very hands-off almost in the whole process. We did the initial introduction, identifying that Mayday was a solution for Hill. But other than that, Michelle's quite self-sufficient with tech generally, but everything has been taken care of by Mayday. We've not needed to be involved in sort of the day-to-day implementation of the product at all.
And in terms of the broader firm, we did the lunch and learn a couple of weeks ago for the internal team. Well, I hope it proved really popular. We've got some great questions and engagement on it, Becky. Perhaps you could share a little bit more about that.
So I guess there was a similar feedback to those on the call today. It sounds fab. Yeah, some initial real excitement from people seeing a product that is very different than anything else in the market, and solves a real issue for clients, and people can see it and say, yes, I know exactly where I can use this and which clients this is going to help.
Amazing. Well, look, we've run sort of bang to time. We're within the final 60 seconds. So unless there are any further questions, we will wrap it up there. All that remains for me to say is a massive thank you to Becky for joining us today and sharing her insights, and yeah, for making such a kind of great introduction to Michelle and Hill Helicopters. And yeah, thank you everyone for sparing your time. Like I say, please do go to the website. You can get started with the trial there, and then you'll receive a link to book in the onboarding call, or please do book in a demo if you'd like to do that before starting the trial. But yeah, really, really excited to work together. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.